Hi, and welcome to 3 Things in 3 Minutes. I'm Nersi. Today, we are looking at Twilight Inscription from Fantasy Flight Games. It plays 2 to 8 players with a solo AI mode and plays in about 1.5 to 2 hours. What it's about: Twilight Inscription is a space 4X roll and write game set in the Twilight Imperium universe. Each player picks one of 24 asymmetric factions and a set of 4 boards, using either the identical or asymmetric sides. Now, each round, the speaker player will flip one event card, which is usually a strategy event where the players will choose a board and then spend the card's resource icons, and then spend icons on 3 basic dice and unlock focus dice on that board to navigate the star map, cross off expansion planets for rewards, collect industry resources to build production, or to draw ships on their warfare board to gain combat power. Other events will include gaining wild goods from production, council events to vote on collect rewards or penalties, or war, where players will compare their fleet strength to their neighbors for rewards and penalties. Now, the game ends after 23 to 25 rounds depending on when the final event card is drawn, and the players score for their individual boards, completed common objectives, and whether or not they reached Mechatol Rex. So what I like: Twilight Inscription manages to keep some sense of theme better than most abstract roll and writes, particularly with the faction abilities that mirror the original game's mechanics and the interactions between the navigation and expansion boards. And importantly, the game has lots of variability in its setup, from the 24 different factions to the 8-player board sets, each of which has a unique variation of the 4 boards, which is quite welcome when variability in most of the roll and writes comes from just the dice. And though it's big, the game is largely simultaneous, which means that everyone is engaged all the time with very little downtime no matter how many players you have, and since your interaction is mainly with your neighbors, it does scale smoothly and arguably can be played with 24 players if you have enough sets. Now, points to consider: this is definitely a more complex roll and write, and you can always use any board, so it doesn't force you in any direction, which may make finding a strategy challenging for the first few games. It can also be hard to track your rewards, particularly the assets that you acquire on one board that you can then use on a subsequent turn on another board, so it's easy to forget that you have them and would have been helped by a more reliable way to track them. And while it does maintain some of the Twilight Imperium theme, a lot of it is still basically an abstract roll and write, especially with the events themes being superficial flavor text on the cards that you'll probably ignore, and the simultaneous play leads to a primary solitaire optimization game, with the only real interaction being the neighbor war strength comparison, which is like 7 Wonders, or competing to complete objectives like in Welcome 2, and that might disappoint some Twilight Imperium fans. And the chalk markers, while they look good, are inherently fussier, harder to find, and more expensive than simple dry erase markers, so it's a bit tougher to replace them when you'll inevitably need to. So, in summary, it is a roll and write abstraction of Twilight Imperium that manages to keep the asymmetric theme while the other thematic elements are largely superficial. It keeps the game moving with largely simultaneous gameplay, though that means that most of the game is played as solitaire, and it offers lots of variability in how you set up the game, though it can leave players feeling overwhelmed at first. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks!